Yo, what is up, guys? It is me, and I am bringing you some different kind of content to the channel. Rather than like a standard Wi-Fi league, this is going to be about a tournament run that I had recently. And by recently, I mean like 6 months ago at this point. This is going to be the Draft League World Cup. Now, some guys might already seen some content about this tournament, like from like Berg or J. Ricky. I mean, his video is like 5 months old at this point, which you guys should check out, by the way. He had an excellent run. But, definitely a bit late to the party, but, better late than never, you know. I had BBR D League, BBR LTM, like I had all these Wi-Fi leagues back to back, and I think I made it so it was really difficult to me to really dedicate the time to creating this video, which I've always wanted to create because, in my opinion, this is like probably the most important draft experience I had in my career. So I really want to share this tournament with you guys. Yeah, it should be fun. Again, this is new store content, so if you guys like it or dislike it, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and yeah, this should be a good one. So let's get into the draft rules of the tournament. Alright, so here is the forum for the Draft League World Cup. Now, as you can see, this is actually the second iteration. I was not around for the first iteration. I don't think I was around in the scene, so we're playing for the second one. Now, for those who don't know how the Draft League World Cup works, is that each country, you have to draft like 11 to 12 players per team. And how the drafting works is that it's going to be a creation style draft. And so what that means is that each country is going to be given a entire board, and you have to create like 10 teams from there, like just from one board, I think. So you can like totally like super load stack a team like Val, Zaru, Chomp, like J. Ricky did, which, by the way, check out this video, it's really good. But or you could like spread out the monsters more evenly, which is what we did. But yeah, so we'll get to drafts later, but for now, the country that I played for is going to be Team Canada. So these are my two captains, Nick6564 and J-Scurf. We'll get to those guys later. Yeah, as you can see here, these are all the other countries that played here. So you have the UK, you're a bunch of European countries here. You have the US is actually split into like 4 different sections, which I thought was kind of funny. But I mean, it makes sense because of how massive it is and how many players they have. You have some South American countries, Asian countries, and then you have rest of the world. This one's really funny, by the way. So what happened here is that I'm pretty sure this was originally supposed to be Oceania, but I think because all the Oceania players, they didn't sign up or they waited like last second, they were able to make this legal. So where they have all the Oceania players plus like Genius and K-Crick, who didn't sign up for like their like one of these countries, so they're able to get away with creating this big super team, which is quite funny. We'll get into that later during the rounds, but yeah, these are all the teams. And let's just get into the our roster. So here are all the players that are signing up here. So we have Team Northeast, Team China, which I think I could have qualified for Team China actually. I think I could have because I don't live in China, but I used to, or well, my family does, but that'd be kind of funny if I was on Team China instead. Team UK, yeah, really big threat. Team UK, they're really good. Team Brazil is pretty good. Austria, we actually did play. We played both these teams actually. Yeah, here we go. So this is Team Canada. So we have our captains here, Nick6564, otherwise known as Panda, and J-Scurf. These are two bum captains. Yeah, these two clowns. Yeah, these two are like the funniest guys that I've ever met, by the way. Yeah, I absolutely love these guys, by the way. So like, huge respect to them. I have a lot of respect for these guys. They're really good friends of mine. It was a really good time being able to play on their team, honestly, and they help mock support a lot. They're very active. Yeah, honestly, like a big part of the reason why I liked playing for this tour so much is because of our captains, because of the activity they put in, the effort they put in. Yeah, so all around, just really good vibes. Love these guys. Next we have Monte. Now this is the guy I fought in BBR Summer Scramble, if you guys remember. He's also like arguably like the best Wi-Fi player on the scene right now, so it's pretty cool. We have Monte here. Professor Shuckle, this is Darkrai. I got to know over the course of the tournament. He's a pretty cool guy, pretty chill. We met up like a few times actually IRL, so because we all live in Canada, so it was pretty easy to meet up. But yeah, pretty cool guy, pretty chill. We have your dunk here. This guy's a goober. No, I'm just kidding. I love this guy, but he's pretty funny. He's helping our DFL team right now, which is pretty cool. Also, you have Loki P. This guy, another Canadian. I'm actually gonna visit Loki P soon, quite soon actually. So that's pretty cool. But he definitely runs like these sort of like pretty non-standard drafts, as you'll see later. But he's pretty good at the game, very respectable. Next we have Theo here. This is pretty funny. So when I was like first on the scene, a lot of people compared me to Theo. They're like, "Oh, this guy's like the Gen 9 Theo," because this guy plays stall, right? This is like the notorious guy who plays stall on draft. So it's quite funny. You have both me and Theo on the same team, but Theo isn't actually playing stall. He plays you'll see his team later, but he's playing screens HO, which is quite funny, I think. Next we have SC, Street E. These are two small gun players. So I don't think they really built any of their teams throughout the tour, but they're very, very respectable pilots. Especially FC, like this guy's fucking cracked. There's like a very notorious RIP game this guy had, so I might show the replay if I had a chance. Next, Ryan Ditto, this guy. I think it's like kind of newish like me. So like going into the tournament, this was like my first, I would say, like big tournament. Like I played like before this, I was like in like some random small tour, but this is like my first time on like the big scene, I think. So, and also I think it's also his, so like we kind of started like around like the same time, I think, in drafts. So that's pretty cool there. Vergi, this guy was cracked in DFL if I remember correctly. I don't think he ended up doing much in this tour because he was like busy or something, but he was there. You know, Aura and the last two bum ass captains. Yeah, these guys, we don't care about them. And yeah, so yeah, that's our team. So yeah, and these two, what do you want to play? Yeah, like sure, buddy. But yeah, that's the team. And then we can get into our drafts now. So I'll catch you guys right there. All right, you can see we're on the spreadsheet now. Now, fun fact, we do actually have a logo. I actually made a logo for our team, but they never put it on the doc, so maybe I'll flash it on the screen here somewhere, but we do actually have a logo. Unfortunately, that's not actually on the doc, but you know, what can you do? Here, we have all the drafted teams. We are down here, Canada, so these are all our teams. So again, like we all have to draft like 10 teams from one draft board, so only one team can have Garchomp, only one team can have Darkrai, etc, etc. So as you see, there's our teams here. We have a Tinglu Annihilate team. This one, I'm pretty sure this one's like a scrap team, I'm pretty sure. We have a lot of scrap teams. Yeah, we have a Val Raging Bull team, yeah, a Torrent Gouging Fire team, Zarude Iron Bundle. This is the team Theo used, the Darkrai Quackable Iron Crown team. This team just spanned like screens like every single week, and then this one's like instead of got like Quackable, Darkrai, Iron Crown. This one's pretty cool. Mount Scarada, Urshifu, Rabbit Strike. I think Panda used this one a lot. This is the Your Dunk team. You can tell because it has Terra Hydrapple. This guy invented Hydrapple. I'm pretty sure he did at least. But yeah, this is obviously the Your Dunk team. This is the Loki P team. Great Tusk, Palafin, Screamtail, Corviknight, Volcarona. You don't really see a lot of these guys very often in SV draft, especially like Volcarona, Hisui, Electrode. You don't see these guys a whole lot. Terra Dragon. This is my team actually, SV number 2. This is a team that I use a lot and that I only use. So you're gonna be seeing this team a whole lot. It's gonna be Terra, Ogerpon, Garchomp, Chi-Yu, Goldango, Fizznifty, Manabuzz, Alomomola, and the Hisuian Avalugg. Now going into this tournament, I knew I wanted to use Ogerpon and Aloe because I think these two form a very strong core. Because anything that wants to like set up a sub on Aloe, you just flip turn it into Ogerpon and click Encore. With Terra, Ogerpon LC is basically anything. You can Encore literally anything, so not a big deal. If it's like faster, not a big deal. I didn't pass those two guys. I wanted to draft a Ghost type, obviously for spin locking, so Goldango. Goldango made a lot of sense here. I want to have a big breaker. That's what Chi-Yu is here for. Although Goldango can also act as a breaker as well. I want a defogger as well because on my style of teams, I like to have both spin and defog. So that's like we have the Mandibuzz here and the Yasuin Avalugg. Avalugg just meant to be a spinner here, and Mandibuzz as a defogger. Then lastly, we have Garchomp here. Garchomp is going to be the main and only really hazard sitter. Actually, no, that's not true. We have Ogerpon for spikes, but we have Garchomp here for spikes and rocks. Garchomp is also a physical offensive threat. Can click Scale Shot, can click EQ. At the time, I would really want to use Garchomp for some reason. I couldn't tell you why I want to use Garchomp a lot, but I just did. I thought it was really nice, so I took Garchomp as like the one premium on. Because as you can see, like most of the teams, they only have like really like one like premium pick. We didn't go like Ricky's team did, Zarude, Iron Val on the same team. No, we didn't do that. Most teams only had like one premium pick. So mine was Garchomp. They tried to mind control me to think Ogerpon was one too, but you know. Yeah, so this is gonna be our team. So with that, we can probably just get it straight into our week 1. So quick summary of how like the pools are going to work. So each team is going to be split into, or like the pool of like teams, they're going to be split into pools. So each pool will have like 4 teams, and then like each team in the pool will face each other until we all follow each other, and then like the top 2 from the pool, I'm pretty sure we'll just move on to playoffs. So with that, let's get into the pools. Alright, so here is going to be week 1 of the, or pools 1 of the Draft League World Cup. This is going to be against Eastern Europe. My opponent is Fish Anemometer. This guy is a Smogon player, I'm pretty sure. Not really sure about their draft experience, but they are a Smogon player, so they definitely know how to play the game. So we expect a decent challenge here now. As you can see, their team over here, they have their Urshifu, which is a Single Strike and Terra. Latios, Cinderace, Terra Etran, Primarina, Landorus T, Belly Bolts, and the Arbok. Now look at our team on the left here. We have the Terra Ogerpon, Garchomp, Chi-Yu, Goldango, Fizznippy, Terra Mandibuzz, Aloe, and Terra Avalugg. Now one obvious route I could take here is obviously to Terra the Avalugg into a Fairy type and completely wall the Urshifu. That's not to do it actually, because I thought it was pretty damn obvious I'll do that, but we instead opted for a different approach here, which you guys will see in a sec. But we have checks through all our threats, I think. So we can check Primarina, Heatran with Aloe, Latios with Aloe. We can check Cinderace with Garchomp, Avalugg. We have Fizznippy as well for Primarina. So I felt going to this matchup, the matchup was pretty favorable, I think, because I was just able to check all the guys, and the Pokemon that they have to switch into, like Chi-Yu, they have Heatran for, which is like understandable. You could Terra Fairy to Heatran and pretty much not worry about Chi-Yu ever. But Goldango, on the other hand, is a bit more difficult to switch into because their Ghost Resist is going to be the Urshifu, which doesn't want to switch into Shadow Ball really. You have the Belly Bolt, which can switch in, and the Primarina, but like it's gonna be chip, and especially if you get a Hazard up, it's gonna be pretty good progress. Also, Belly Bolt into Garchomp, no ideal. We also have Fizznippy for that, so even if Belly Bolt wants to come, like over time, I think it'll be chipped down to the point where they'll just run out of Goldango switch-ins. So yeah, pretty good matchup, I think. So with that, let's get into our prep here. So you can see the team over here. We have our first up, we have Scarf Goldango. Now this meant to take advantage of the fact they had no Ghost Resist outside Urshifu. Shadow Ball hits the team pretty damn hard. We are modest, could outspeed the Cinderace, and that's about it. But idea here is that just get Goldango as many times as possible, go for Choice Scarf, Shadow Ball, make it rain. Last 2 moves here are going to be Trick and Focus Blast. Trick we can use to trick like a CM on like a Latios in case it tries to get scary. We can use it to trick a Primarina once it goes for CM. Focus Blast is here mainly for the Heatran, so in case we need to get a big hit off on Heatran, we can go for a Focus Blast and just Shadow Ball. Focus Blast do around like half the Heatran, I think. It'll probably 2-shot, but most of the time we'll probably just be clicking Shadow Ball over and over again. Next we have our Ogerpon. This is going to be Rocky Helmet. So we actually end up using this as my Urshifu check over the Terra Avalugg, because I saw Terra Avalugg was incredibly obvious. Like if I just go Terra Fairy Avalugg, Urshifu is not doing anything like any game. So I want to do like a different approach here. The idea of this is that we anticipate that they go like a bulk up, like Terra Poisoned or Steel Urshifu, try to catch the Avalug's Terra Fairy. That'd be quite annoying. And how do you beat bulk up Urshifu? You have Encore and Ogerpon, so that was the idea there. Of course, this is inherently weak to like just like a Brain Dead Terra Dark Wicked Blow set, but we still have options around that field, especially in our later mons, which you'll see. So Ogerpon here has Encore, Synthesis, Knockoff, and Spikes. We're actually not running Ivy Cudgel on this because the goal of this set is not really to deal damage, it's just to knock off boots, Encore to Ogerpon, or the Urshifu, sorry. Click Synthesis, get some hazard up with Spikes. And yeah, it's not really meant to just kill stuff, so just figured I might as well just go for like a full-on utility set. Next we have a Garchomp here. It's going to be Rocky Helmet as well, except where this is actually going to be fast Garchomp, so we actually outspeed the Urshifu. We can go for a Draco Meteor onto it. So in case it's like a bulk up set, I can like Draco into it. It'll do around like half, I think. The other move here is going to be Earthquake. So although we are like timid, running Earth Power into like Belly Bolt and Heatran feels pretty bad. So I'll also just go for a mix and suck it up, just like running like Mind's Attack nature. It's not that big of a deal. Draco Meteor also works with Landorus T. And the last two moves here are going to be Rest and Stealth Rock. Now, why you're running Rest here is because Urshifu does not get knockoff. So the idea here is that if we click a Rest, if we're low HP and can't kill Urshifu, it's going to be taking Ruskin and Rocky Helmet Chip again, because if you're running a choice set, you can't run punching gloves, for example. So you'll be taking Rocky Helmet and Ruskin over and over again. That's the idea there. And if you're running punching gloves, then I can just go into my Ogerpon, click Encore. I can knock off the punching gloves, or I can just go for Big Draco Meteor. It gets a good chip. And lastly, we have Stealth Rock on here. Of course, we can't run rocks on Avalugg. We can't bring it, so Garchomp has to run rocks here. Next, we have our Aloe here. It's going to be Max Death AV. This is meant just to be a switch into Latios Primarina. We can switch into those guys pretty comfortably. We can also switch to Heatran pretty comfortably. The idea here is that we just switch in, take a hit, flip turn out into Goldango or whatever. We have Miracle on this as well, so in case you do want to like just stay ankle from our Draco, we can click Miracle, Permission Sure and Oko onto Latios and Primarina. We have Play Rough here. Play Rough is for in case you want to run like sub Latios. Play Rough will guarantee break 7 Latios, of course. Flip turn, of course, is a momentum move and opposite we can use to get a surprise KO against stuff like the Landorus, stuff like the Cinderace, the Urshifu, etc. Yeah, pretty standard set here. Next we have Fizzinity. It's going to be Max Death as well. Now they can't break through the Aloe if they choose to go like a Grass Heat or something like that. So we wanted to have like a backup option for that. So that's why we have a Max Death Fizz as well. So Fizz will be saved probably just for the Primarina, I imagine. And if you want to go like a Terra Heatran, Terra Grass, then that means I can just go into Fizzinity and click Beat Up. Secure a nasty poison to Heatran. And with that poison damage and flip turn, should be able to handle Heatran pretty well. Moves here are U-turn, Roost, Speed Up, and Poison Jab. Poison Jab is just to be able to have a move to be able to hit the Primarina. This is also good for Belly Bolt as well, so if they want to bring a Belly Bolt, I can just go into this. Click Poison Jab or Beat Up, try to get a Poison. Because I don't really anticipate they bring Arbok here, so really their only immunity is going to be the Heatran. And of course the item here is going to be Heavy Duty Boots. Now our removal here is just going to be the Mandibles, of course, so we don't have spin here, so is it a bit difficult to play with hazards here, but we can if we want, but it'll be detrimental to us as well, so we'll most likely defog, but just because I didn't really think the Onslaught was too important, I saw the boost on here. And speaking of lastly, we have our Mandibles here, who's going to be Weak Armor. Now, this is a pretty interesting set, I think, because we have enough speed, or after like a Weak Armor hit, we can outspeed a Urshifu, and then go for a knockoff and get rid of its protected pads or choice band. And if we do that, then if it's pads, then we can go to Garchomp that takes chip. If it's band, we knock it off, and then we just go to Ogerpon. Last moves here are Roost for longevity, of course, Whirlwind. We have Whirlwind in case you want to run like a, this actually works for like a bulk up Urshifu, like a bulk up sub Urshifu, if we can't switch into Ogerpon for some reason. We click Whirlwind to force that guy out. And then lastly, we have U-turn here, of course. So U-turn just to pivot in and out. We actually don't have defog on this set. I actually lied earlier. We actually don't have defog because their only hazards is rocks. And because their only hazards is rocks, that's not really that big of a deal. So I might as well just like try to prioritize my own hazards here. So because they don't have a spiker, you know, didn't really need defog, I felt like. So just gonna run boots on this, run boots on Fez. AV Aloe will take hazards, but like it's so bulky that I don't think it's that big of a deal. Goldego takes resist from hazards. Garchomp is resist to hazards. Ogerpon's like the main one, but like I saw it's like a worthy sacrifice if I can just get hazards up because Ursula will be taking hazards, like all the guys will be, so I thought it was fine. And yeah, that's gonna be our team. So we benched the Chi-Yu here, which is kind of crazy, and we also benched the Avalugg. Now Chi-Yu here, I mean, if you look at our team, like Chi-Yu is like it's pretty like bad, I'd say. Like you have to bring like a pretty niche set. I think if you want Chi-Yu to work here, you have to bring like a Ruination set. And if you do that, then like it's like you're already kind of like shooting yourself in the foot, I feel like, you know? And like you're also spit a Latios, you're also spit a Cinderace. Not that big of value, you know, if you can't run Scarf. And if you do run Scarf here, you know, I'll have to run Defog and Mana Buzz, which means I can't run hazards. And if I can't run hazards, then it's kind of difficult to force progress a lot. So this for Goldingo was like just a much better breaker here than Chi-Yu. And Avalugg, of course, I benched because outside of like their Urshifu, it's not really too useful here. Like we can check all their big threats without the Avalugg, I felt like, so didn't really feel like it was necessary here. So yeah, it's gonna be a prep. So that let's get into the game. All right, so here we have our week 1 game. So here's my opponent, Fishnometer. He has a custom avatar, so you know this guy's tough. So as you can see here, he chooses to bench the Belly Bolts and the Arbok, which made a whole lot of sense. I'm pretty sure Mox, he was like the only 6 that showed up. I mean, like if he benched anything else, you know, feels kind of bad. You can maybe argue like Prim could get benched, but as like a backup like Chew answer, it does make sense for it to show up here. So with that, let's get into the game here. So my lead plan here is going to be lead Garchomp. I want to get hazards up immediately because I want to start pressuring the Urshifu and stuff like that early. So we're going to be leading Garchomp here. He decides to lead Latios, so this is actually the worst lead of all time. I was trying to catch like Landorus or a Heatran lead, but he led Latios, so pretty bad, but we had good switch into this. Now before we get into the game here, let's just look over the Terra types here. So here, we can see is Terra going to be Terra Fairy on the Heatran, and it's going to be Terra Dark on the Urshifu. So immediately, Dark Urshifu, that tells me is most likely going to be a Choice Band set, so unlucky, should have brought the Terra Fairy Lug. Terra Fairy Heatran makes a lot of sense. This checks the Chi-Yu. But because Chi-Yu did not show up, I don't anticipate that the Heatran will Terra at all. So he's probably going to Terra Urshifu. It's probably just going to be Choice Band and click Wicked Blow a whole bunch of times. Us on the other hand, if we have a Terra Dark Manabuzz and Terra Grass Ogerpon, of course we're going to Terra Ogerpon here. Manabuzz is not going to Terra. I don't think Aloe's Terra. I think it's just Manabuzz and Ogerpon here. But yeah, lead against Latios, pretty bad. Let's switch out here, unfortunately, and we're going to switch into our Aloe here, I believe. Yep, Aloe. He's going to miss Draco Meteor. Now that's actually going to be pretty big later on, you'll see. But at the moment, I was like, oh, that's not going to do that much. Like even the specs, I love it. Here he goes with Luster Purge, reveals that he's going to be not locked in. So very easy flip turn. This tells me he's not going to be choice specs either. Go to Goldingo here. This is pretty free. Now I double back to Aloe here. I believe the reason for this is because I was trying to catch a. I want to see what he wants to do. Like if he's like going to go into Heatran. So I just double back to Aloe here. He doesn't need to go into Heatran, so not a problem here. Rocks going up, no problem. Slip turn out of here. I need Rocks to go up from the start. This is a very easy Garchomp here, and this is going to be a Stealth Rock for me, I believe. Let's go for Rocks here. Yep, Rocks are up. This could have been risky if we tear the Heatran, but I just really want to go with Rocks up, start pressuring stuff like the Latios switching in. Here goes on Latios on my Garchomp, so pretty good play on his part. Obviously, I'm not going to click Draco Meteor into a Heatran, so it makes a great play doubling to Latios there. Make a switch in here to Latios here, so we can eat a Draco, Luster Purge, no problem. I believe he went for, yeah, it goes for Luster Purge here, and here he goes for a Shadow Ball, I believe. Try to catch my Goldingo switching in, but I just stay in, don't care, go for Mirror Coat. Get this guy down to around like 20%, so after 2 rounds of Rocks, this guy will be dead. Here I do decide to switch to Goldingo here, because I think he's going to go for Draco Meteor to pick up the KO. So here, Golden Gold Eagle here, he does go for Draco Meteor, as you can see. This is a decent amount, but we can outspeed this now. And it reveals that he has a jetpack, so if he landed a Draco Meteor on like turn 1, he actually would have been able to get like momentum on me, figure out my set, so that was actually kind of unfortunate miss there. Here he gets an Urshifu in for free, so I am Scarf with Dingo. I will outspeed this, but at the time, you know, I had to scout for Scarf in case it's going to be like a choice Scarf for Urshifu, so I switch out here. I think he also ends up switching out. Yeah, he also ends up switching out. And because I switched out first, he knows now that I'm going to be choice scarfed, so it's like zero information like that, but you know, at this point I had no choice. I'm going to Mandibus here, he goes Primarina. Not ideal. I'm going to switch out here again to Alamola. I believe he goes to Flip Turn here, oh no, Moonblast. Yeah, Moonblast does 29%, doesn't do a whole lot. Here is actually revealed that I'm faster, so he's running min speed Primarina, because I EV Aloe to be slower than this, but Primarina is naturally slower, so if you run min speed, it will out slow min speed Aloe. So I had to play reactively here, but that's not a problem because I had to Fizz Nippy as well. So I just go Fizz here pretty easily. Goes to another Moonblast, not a big deal. Take 14%, does nothing. Now this is a pretty free U-turn here. He doesn't want to stay in, obviously, to take a poison. So U-turn Landorus, that guy's taking Rock's chip, U-turn chip. I don't take Rocks here, Rock Helmet here, which tells me this is probably going to be leftovers or something. Here, I go into Ogerpon. Does not reveal leftovers, so I decide to go for knockoff here. I could get rid of like a Mr. Cover Cloak if it's like a Citrus Berry set. So let's go into Ogerpon, go for knockoff here. I want to shoot this down so that's it's not going to be a big threat later. As you can see here, he's going to be the Cover Cloak, so that's really good to get knocked off. He does go for U-turn. Does quite a bit to my Ogerpon actually, but this is now at like coming in, it's going to be at like 30% HP now because it took Rock Helmet, it took knockoff. So this is now basically like dead, basically. So pretty decent Triacte. Here to go Cinderace. I just go back to Mandibus here. They revealed to be Will-O-Wisp, which is quite interesting. I guess they were trying to like anticipate Garchomp switching in, but I just go Mandibus here. I believe go for knockoff here now, just to get rid of his boots. He just goes for Fireball, fair enough. He procs the weak armor, so now I'm faster than him. I go for a knockoff, and now I can actually go for a U-turn here because I am faster. So I click up for a U-turn, like 2% HP. Pretty free Garchomp here. He goes for Gong Shot here, which is pretty crazy. I'm not sure what he was expecting. I think he was like expecting Aloe maybe. He just stays in here. Like, I mean, fair enough. He burned a Garchomp. That's a really big threat. Fair enough. I go for Draco Meteor, do a fair amount of damage here. He's also switching to Latios here. This is actually a pretty crazy play, I thought. But yeah, pretty good play on his part. I guess like he anticipated me to just go for no Draco here, but yeah, pretty good play on his part. Able to get into Latios here one last time, but I do still have my Aloe at a range where I still take Draco Meteor, so this is no problem. Just going to Aloe here, goes with Luster Purge, no problem. This is now an oxygen range, this dies. He doesn't get free Urshifu now, but we still have all 6 Mons, so this is not really that big a deal. I decided to go Mandibus here. I could have gone for knockoff here now, but I think I decided to go for U-turn. He actually decides to Terra here, which this is actually a bad play, because not only are you taking super effective from U-turn now, but you're also taking neutral from rocks now. So instead of the usual 6% that Urshifu would take, it's now going to be taking 12% because you tear out that fighting type. So I go for U-turn here. It's going to do super effective damage, 10%. Nothing. Just going to Garchomp. Oh yeah, here, this is funny. So usually for like these tour games, I use up a lot of timer. Like, it's very notorious I use up a lot of my timer. So you'll see me very frequently down at like the 5 second mark, but I'm not pressed. Don't worry about it. I'm not pressed. I'm just taking my time. I'm not pressed. Here I decided to go into Garchomp here, just sack it off. I know from the damage on Mandibus that this is definitely choice banned. So he's going to be taking Rock Helmet and Rough Skin. So I decided to sack off Garchomp here. Yeah, takes Rough Skin, takes Rocky Helmet. Here, this is free Goldingo now. But this is not in range of Shadow Ball yet. So I have to go for Make It Rain here, I believe. Yeah, here goes Primarina. Go for Make It Rain. Get some pretty good chip on this. Now, this is a very easy Fizz Nifty switch in now. Just go Fizz, Flip Turn, not a big deal. Heatran wants to come in, not a big deal. I just go into Aloe, not a big deal at all. I believe he goes for Will-O-Wisp before. Yeah, he goes Will-O-Wisp here, not a big deal again. Just switching out, not a big deal. Earth Power, 13%, not a big deal. And this is now chip on Heatran. This is not lefties, so he's taking chip now. And now this is in Focus Blast range. Now you could argue that this might be this might not be a good play because if I missed Focus Blast here, obviously I lose my Goldango and my only way to revenge Urshifu. So maybe you could have made a different play here, but it does work out in the end. He is forced to switch out here somehow. Interpret Marina Focus Blast does not pick up the KO. I don't want to go for like a risk here, so I switch on Fizz Nifty. Goes for Side Noise, not going to do a whole lot. And the U-turn will pick this off, obviously. Yep, U-turn kills this. And I believe it going to Goldango here. Yep. Now, they have to go to Urshifu here. Now, I know this is banned, but Urshifu can Sucker Punch, so I have to play around that. So, I believe I sack Manabuzz here. Yeah, I sack Manabuzz, scout the Sucker Punch. Just go for straight for Wicked Blow, so good play on his part. Knowing that I can't stay in there. But now I just get free Goldango again. He's forced to pick up another sack here. And it's going to be Cinderace. I go for Make It Rain because I don't think Shadow Ball killed from there still. So I had to go for Make It Rain there. It goes in Heat now, but like this is taking rocks. This is taking Flip Turn. It's not a big deal. He makes a double here, but like this is also not a big deal because this is taking rocks. I have another Rock Helmet in the back here. And what I can do is I can pivot into Ogerpon. And if he goes to our contact move, he's going to be in Rock's range. So the next time he comes in, he'll just straight up be dead. So here I decided to sack the Ogerpon here. Knowing that if I get this Rock Helmet chip, this Urshifu is basically dead. So Ogerpon gets sacked here. Urshifu is now in Rock's range, so there's no point switching this in anymore. He's just going to sack it here. Yeah, Shadow Ball picks this up. And now we're in a point where Shadow Ball just cleans the endgame. Like, Landorus is going to be coming in at 33%. Heatran is at 23%, so this is already in range, which calced. So Heatran just drops here. Now Landorus is the only Pokemon left. Here I decided to make a stupid play. I decided to switch around like a dumbass. But like at this point there's nothing my opponent could do, right? So might as well, I guess, ensure a KO. Go for Aqua Jet just to ensure his kills. Get a crit, not a big deal. Owl dies. And Goldango is free to just go for Make It Rain or Shadow Ball to claim W. So that's going to be GG. So that's going to be a Week 1 W. Overall, pretty close game, you say, right? Like, pretty close game. Ended up being like a sack war, which I was able to win because of my Rocky Helmet spam. I also am tearing there. If he didn't tear, I think I'll probably be in a decent amount of trouble if he didn't tear. Because if he didn't tear, then he would not take rocks. He would not take he would not take rocks. He would not take super effective damage from U-turn. So him tearing there actually like saved me the game probably. So that's funny. So yeah, it's gonna be a Week 1 W for your boy. And with that, we can get into our Week 2. Alright, you can see over here, this is the results of Week 1. As you can see here, we were able to beat US East 6-2. So we only lost 2 games, so we did pretty well. Week 2, we faced Austria. So speaking of, our opponent for Week 2 is going to be CFMon. I don't know how you pronounce that. But I do know they played in DPL in the most recent season and a season before. So definitely a competent player. You can see their team over here. They have the Darkrai, Dragonite, Enamorus, Conkeldurr, Metagross, Volcanion, Glamora, Mudsdale. So already a pretty big counter team because they had a fucking Volcanion from my Aloe. So I think for this match I had a really tough time building because of that stupid Volcanion. Especially when teared, you can't poison it. It's immune to water absorb. Yeah, just not a really good matchup either. So outside of Volcanion though, Darkrai is really scary for my team to deal with. Dragonite's really scary. Enamorus is pretty scary too, but like if I had an Aloe, it's not that big a deal. Fizznithy, not that big a deal. Glamora is actually pretty annoying for my team to deal with as well. Yeah, mostly just the Volcanion made this really obnoxious to prep for. So with that, let's just see the prep that we brought. So first we have our Choice Scarf Goldango again. Kind of similar to last week. Their Ghost Resist, is not very good. So the idea here is that Scarf Goldango can just clean up a late game, hopefully, like Week 1. Moves here are going to be Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Trick, and Thunder Wave. Now the reason why we get Thunder Wave is because we can go for Thunder Wave and stuff like a Darkrai, slow it down. We could go for Thunder Wave on Dragonite. Trick works in the same way. We can use Trick, Cripple, stuff like the Dragonite, the Darkrai. Really, we didn't really need Focus Blast this week, so Shadow Ball, Make It Rain as our only attacking moves sound fine to me. And lastly, we just Trick, Thunder Wave, just to cripple stuff down. We are running Timidnature, most notably to outspeed a +1 D Knight. Next we have our Garchomp here, who's going to be Swords Dance. This actually has 220 SpDef, plus SpDef Nature. This is actually very, very bulky. The idea with this is that we could take Steam Eruptions, and we can take Moonblast because of Roselia Berry. I think the exact lead scenario was that we can take Dazzling Gleams from Glamora and then a Moonblast from Garchomp as well. But we have Swords Dance here, Poison Jab, Scale Shot, and Earthquake. Really just goes pretty hard on your team, I think, if you get the right calls. You can click Swords Dance and Glamora pretty easily. Glamora obviously forced out. It's probably forced out into like Enamorus or yeah, probably just Enamorus. And Enamorus wants to come in, I just go for Poison Jab, no call that. And because of Roselia Berry, we can take the Moonblast. Hopefully go for a Scale Shot on when it comes in next, or EQ. Next we have our Fizzle Nifty here. This is going to be Black Sludge. We're going max SpDef almost. We have a little bit of speed investment on this. The little bit of speed we have is to ensure that we don't get spit crit by something like a Volcanion. The rest of we just stuff to SpDef and HP. Roost, U-turn, Poison Jab, and Beat Up. This is going to be our main Volcanion answer. If you run like Terra Grass, we're good for it. We can just poison that. Terra Poison Seal is pretty annoying. We don't have much for that, unfortunately. But for anything else, we can deal with pretty well. This also works for the Enamorus, the Darkrai to a certain extent, but we don't want to take Psyshock. Next we have our Avolic here. It's going to be Terra Fairy. We actually will be tearing our Avolic here, because you can see we benched our Ogerpon. I didn't think Ogerpon's too good here. Ogerpon to D-Knight, Ogerpon to Metagross. Like, it is not very good, so I'll have to just not bring it at all. So we're going to be tearing Avolic here. It's going to be Earthquake, Recover, Rapspin, and Ice Cold Spear. Ground Ice Coverage does hit everything on our team. Super effective almost, except for the Conkeldurr and the Darkrai. So once you go with like a Mamoswine LARP here, Terra Fairy allows us to be able to switch into stuff like Conkeldurr, not really care. This also helps us versus Dragonites. We are actually a max SpDef on this in case you want to run like a Hurricane Sit on Dragonite. This also works for a Darkrai, because if Darkrai doesn't run Sludge Bomb, which low-key it shouldn't really, then it kind of has a difficult time hitting Avolic hard, because it can't hit super effective. Dark Pulse not gonna do a whole lot. Ice Beam not gonna do a whole lot. Thunder, like, maybe. Next we have our Choice Specs Chi-Yu here. Now the idea of this is that we'll just U-turn, Fizz Nifty, Manbuzz, get into Chi-Yu. They do have like Pokemon that make Chi-Yu a bit difficult to navigate with, because Volcanion obviously resists fire 4 times effective. Dark Pulse is resisted by Conkeldurr, especially if it's like AV. Darkrai resists as well, so you have to like get some calls right with Chi-Yu to make it work. But if you do get those calls right, I do think it does like break pretty damn well, especially if you do like catch like a Conkeldurr on the Overheat, for example, right? Moves here, Will-O-Wisp, Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, and Overheat. We can use Will-O-Wisp to burn Dragonite. We can also use it to burn Metagross, Conkeldurr if you want. But mostly Overheat, Flamethrower, Dark Pulse, these are going to be what we're going to get clicked most likely. We actually have a lot of bulk on this Chi-Yu. We have 192 HP. What this does is that it actually makes us live Focus Blast guaranteed from Darkrai. So if you want to run that set, we can guarantee live Focus Blast. Dark Pulse, Ice Beam obviously don't do anything. And then lastly, we have our Mandos here. This is just going to be a U-turn bot. Roost, Defog, U-turn, Toxic. Coming on stuff, just click U-turn, Toxic, stuff like the Conkeldurr, Dragonite, whittles guys down. Rest of the stuff into SpDef here. We have enough physics to be able to take Ice Punches from Conkeldurr. The rest of it is dumped to SpDef. And yeah, pretty basic stuff here. Again, Volcanion makes this a lot more difficult, I think. So, we also have Defog here because they do have Spiker. So, and because Avolic, I don't think it does a spin, but again, like if we want that, it's kind of difficult to get Avolic going here. So, Defog on this to be able to get rid of hazards. We're not really going for hazards ourselves here, as you can see, because of our Garchomp set. So, that let's get into the match for week number 2. So here you can see the match here. As you can see, they opted to bench the Mudsdale and the Metagross, which makes a whole lot of sense. You definitely want to bring Conkeldurr here as your Chi-Yu answer, potentially. You definitely want to bring Glamora here. You definitely want to bring Volcanion for sure. Enamorus, Dragonite, Darkrai. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense that you bench those two. So We just go into match here. As you can see here, we scroll up here, do a whole lot of yapping. It's Terra Poison Canyon, which is definitely the worst case scenario because Fizznippy can't poison it. Glamora is Terra Flying, but I don't really think it's going to Terra, to be honest. So, and that's we have Terra Fairy Applet, of course. So we lead Garchomp here. Reason why we lead Garchomp is because we want to get Burst Swords Dance immediately. Want to just try to get some damage off to his team. Want to try catch like a Glamora lead, try to catch a Volcanion lead. Here, he decides to lead Conkeldurr. Now this is actually really bad for us because if you look at our team, we don't really switch into Conkeldurr right now. If he clicks Ice Punch, Garchomp will die, of course. But it could also click Knockoff. If it clicks Knockoff, I can't go into my Goldango here. If I lose my Choice Scarf, it's going to be devastating. So I can't go Goldango. I can't stay in. I also can't go Avalugg here, which is the most important one, because if I go Avalugg, then he clicks a fighting move like CC, then obviously I'm going to get blown the fuck up, right? So I can't go Avalugg, can't go Goldango, can't stay in. So really my only options here are like Fizznippy or Manabuzz. Arguably, I probably should have went Fizznippy here, because in no world do you click like EQ here, right? EQ would not be the right play here. So I probably should have gone Fizznippy here, but I got Manabuzz here, and I took an Ice Punch. Here, I believe just go for Toxic here. I want this on a timer, but unfortunately, he just switches to Glamora, which is like a totally fair play, right? So we get that play wrong, but this does allow me to get in Garchomp for free now. So I just go Garchomp here. Wants to go for Rocks, that's fine. Here, I just go for an SD. He just stays in, which is crazy to me. So either like he's like Sash, or yeah, he will have to like be Sash because like it's a crazy stay in. No, he just goes for Mortal Spin. Reveals that he is going to be Black Sludge, so or Leftovers. So that's a crazy stay in. No, because like if I just click EQ, this just fucking dies. So I have no idea why I just stayed in, but he did. Whatever. I click Swords Dance. Here he makes an even crazier play. This is an even crazier play. Here he goes Dragonite, which is fucking insane because I just revealed SD, and you would assume that I'm going to be Scale Shot Chomp, right? So why the hell would you go Dragonite here? That makes literally no sense. But he goes Dragonite here. I went for EQ. Whatever, I'm bad. But that's a crazy play. No, that was a crazy play to me because I could have just been loaded as Scale Shot. Here he realized I could be Scale Shot. Goes in Namorous. That's fine. I live Moonblast still because of my Spadef EVs, and just go for Iron Head and KO this or Poison Jab. So this is dead. Pretty good value, I still say. Garchomp did his job. Now Darkrai switches in. I want to say this still, so I go Chiyu here. I'm able to take basically anything. I get threatened out with a Scarf Bluff. Here he goes Conkeldurr, which is crazy, no? Because if you have a Darkrai in, surely you expect Fire move, no? So unfortunately, I made a wrong call. I went for Dark Pulse here, predicting that he would predict that I would go for Fire move. He just goes to Conkeldurr, whatever. I still have a Garchomp here I can sack, so not a big deal. Just go for EQ. Here I get my Avalugg online here. Here I believe I just go for I go for EQ here actually. I predict this Glamora don't want to switch in, so I go for EQ. This dies now. Nice. Glamora is now dead. He does have hazards up, but I can get rid of those later. Here you go Fizz on a Volcanion here. He goes for Sludge Bomb. Gets a critical hit here. Now this is actually significant in the turn later you'll see. So this turn, I just go for Beat Up here, try to get into Terra. Try to get some chip here. I don't really switch into Volcanion here, but might as well get some chip on this. Here, he reveals Heavy Slam, and because he got that crit earlier, I'm actually now in range of Heavy Slam, and I just straight up die. So that's pretty unfortunate. If he didn't get that crit, I'm pretty sure I would live Heavy Slam, and then I just pivot into my Manabuzz next turn. So overall, very unfortunate, but you know, nothing I can do about it. So if Fizznippy dies, I go into Manabuzz here. I just go for Roost here, try to get healthy. Here he just go for Sludge Bomb, try to fish for poisons. I don't think he gets it. So I go for Defog here. Here now he goes for a Steam Eruption. He doesn't get the Lucky Burn, which is kind of annoying because this is now a roll to kill us. But here, fortunately, he avoids the roll. I'm able to get a U-turn, get out of there. Go into my Chi-Yu. Hopefully pick up a KO this time. But this time he goes into Dragonite. So he gets the call there. He gets the call correct there. Go for Overheat. Break the multi-skill though at least. Here he makes a double back into Volcanion, which is a really good play. So this is a really good play on his part. He knew that Avalugg would come out obviously. Here I just sack Manabuzz here, because nothing else I can do. I go Chiyu here. Just go for an overheat kill. Overheat is a guaranteed kill at this stage. So Dreadnought comes in, dies, or well, next one will kill. Here he goes for E-Speed. But because they're very bulky, we can live it. Now here he's only going to the Dark right here. Here I ought to stay in because overheat at minus what is this now? 4? -4 is still going to do half the Dark Ride, as you'll see in a sec, but he also can't kill me with any move at this stage. So here I just ought to stay in to get the chip I need. And with this chip, then this will now be in Goldango range. So that was my plan there. Here, go into Avlik here. Don't really want to sack. Need a sacks. Goes Dark Pulse, I love it. Here goes Volcanic, I click EQ, predicting that. So now this is also in Shadow Ball range. Here to sack off the Chiyu. Goes Sludge Bomb, yeah, no problem. Here I go into Goldango, this is now in range. He goes into Conkeldurr actually, so. And this reveals to be AV, so that Shadow Ball did like no damage. But here just I can't really like switch out, so just go for Shadow Ball again, try to get this into range. Goes to EQ. Here I go into Avlik here on the EQ. Yeah, no problem. Here like it's a very easy Volcanion, so I kind of have to EQ here. So I could go for EQ and kill this. He goes into Dark right here. Here I try to scout like Sludge Bomb, but in hindsight I probably should have stayed in. But here I just go to Goldango here, trying to see what wants to go for. Thunder. That's it. Does kill. So unfortunate there. I have to go to Avlik here. Goes to Dark Pulse, and that actually doesn't kill us, but he gets a flinch. So. And because I clicked recover there, just like a small chance I could have won this still. But because he got that flinch, it's now over, right? But yeah, gets the flinch, kills me with Dark Pulse, and that's gonna be GG. Yeah, if he didn't get that flinch, I did go for recover, and I am max Bdef, so he would have to land like all his thunders to kill me. And I could just recover spam until he got the full HP, go for Icicle Spear, kill this. But you know, unlucky. Nothing much you can do about that, of course. As you can see by the results here in a sec, my team did end up winning. We did end up winning against Austria, so we won 5-3 here, as you can see. I lost, JScript lost. This is a really funny game, by the way. JScript vs. Crocodile. Let me pull this up right now, actually. Let's pull this game right now, actually. This is a really funny game. Yeah, we're gonna watch this right now. Yeah, sorry, buddy. This is notorious choice span Aloe game. Yeah, I gotta play this, man. I gotta play this. So, JScript leaves Cyndaquil. He leaves Aloe. He goes Annihilate here. And once he clicks Zen Headbutt, oh, boom, 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 boom. 63%. Boom. Booyah. And now we have forced out. He goes into Ogerpon, no problem. Let's just skip it. No one gives a fuck about Ogerpon. No one gives a fuck. We're trying to see Aloe here. Blah 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 blah. No one cares. Oh, N. Takes Ruination, no problem. Now this is Choice Band Flip Turn. That Tentacle's gonna be taking Choice Band Flip Turn. It takes 23%. Yeah, this is good chip. Let's just skip this. Let's skip this. Back into Aloe. Yeah, no problem. Eat the Ruination, no problem. Now this is Choice Band Flip Turn. 35%. Now that's a 3-hit KO. That's a 3-hit KO on Tenglu. EQ this into range of Choice Band Aloe, of course, you know, device. Choice Band Aloe, that's a kill. GG, that's a kill. Here he goes to Thunderous. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. No, Aloe, don't give a fuck. And yeah, this just wins. Blah 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 blah. Aloe got kill. Nice. Yeah, sorry buddy, I had to play this game. Sorry buddy. But yeah, so that's a week 2. We won week 2 very nicely. And that means we are locked for a playoffs, I believe. So next week's going to be our last game. It's going to be against US West, I believe. I believe it is US West. Yeah, US West. But I actually didn't play this week. I got benched because I'm ass. I lost. So yeah, I didn't play this week. So the next match you'll see is actually going to be playoffs. So I'll catch you guys right there. All right, we are here for quarterfinals. So after the pool stage, because we went 3-0, we obviously advanced to playoffs. So we're one of the only 8 remaining teams left, and because we are 3-0, we secure basically the top seed. Immediately, we basically got off against a rematch from pools, and that is Team US West. Team US West, these guys are one of the favorites to win the tournament, I think. It was Team US West, Team UK, and Team Rest of the World, and us obviously, as like the favorites to win. So immediately, you know, you have to face a pretty scary team. First round of playoffs, just not ideal. It's also going to be a rematch, but I did get to play. Last time we played US West during pools, so it's gonna be new for me at the very least. So let's just take a look at the matchup here. Now here you can see the matchup over here. We are facing Spees. Now a bit of backstory. This guy is actually my DFL team captain. So before a DLWC, like a few months back, I was part of a draft league called the DFL. Now what the DFL is basically like a poor man's version of the DCL. So at that time, you know, still didn't have like the experience to get drafted for a DCL quite yet. So I was in the DFL. That was like my first like Smogon draft tour experience really. So I thought this was pretty cool, getting to face like my captain. You know, get to see how far I've really come, I guess. So with that, let's just take a look at the matchup here. So we can see his tier captain. He has Terra Great Tusk, Roaring Moon, Zapdos, Archaludon, Iron Crown, Enamysterian, Salazzle, Cantera, and the Araquanid. So Terra Great Tusk, Roaring Moon, pretty scary stuff. Even Salazzle can be quite annoying because of its corrosion ability. It can toss like basically anything, including like my Fizznippy and stuff. Araquanid is quite annoying as well. It can run Water Absorb if it really wants, until like it wants to come to Aloe, which is also quite annoying because Aloe can't run a Baton Pass because of Smogon rules. So if it wants to bring Araquanid, then it's kind of annoying for Aloe. Their Chiyu answers are also pretty good here. They have Roaring Moon, which Roaring Moon actually does have a pretty good spit F stat, and it does learn Roost. So if you run like a Roost bulky set, it can actually wall the Chiyu pretty well. So their Chiyu switches are pretty good here. Goldango is like the one Pokemon here that does break pretty well, I noticed. So that would be one of the main breakers here. Terra Great Tusk is also like really scary for my team to deal with because it could Terra obviously to be immune to poison or toxic. It's like Rapspin basically try to threaten to sweep my entire team. So with that, let's just dive into the 6 that we brought. So up first here we have our. I'm just pulling up on my computer here. First we have Ogerpon. It's gonna be Rocky Helmet, Encore, Elite Seed, Spiky Shield, and Synthesis. This is like the same set I always bring versus stuff like Great Tusk. I just usually bring like Rocky Helmet, try to punish Rapid Spin. We could take CC because of our bulk. And if it wants to click Rapid Spin and try to threaten a faster CC, we just Terra, go for an Encore, lock it into CC or Rapid Spin. Leaf Seed here is just to be able to get some decent chip because they don't have a grass type, so anytime I click Leaf Seed, I can just go into like a Spiky Shield, try to get some more recovery that way. So this is actually like a no attack Ogerpon, which is quite funny. Next we have a Fizznippy here. This is going to be mixed Spidef and Fizdef. A bit more Spidef because this is going to be our main answer for stuff like the Enamorous. It's also going to be our answer for stuff like the Zapdos. Though we do have something else for that later, but mainly just for the Enamorous Tea because it does threaten a sweep. Moves here are going to be Toxic, Roost, U-turn, and Poison Jab. We want a Toxic and Poison Jab here because we don't want to activate like a weakness policy from Enamorous. That could get pretty dicey. A Toxic we still want as to get like reliable poison into Zapdos, into Tusk, etc. U-turn, Roost obviously as our momentum and recovery here. Next is going to be our Aloe. It's going to be AV. They do have the Araquanid, but if they want to bring that, they have to bench something really good on their team, like the Iron Crown, the Archaludon. They have to bench something really good for it. So, you know, if they want to do that, then go ahead. Our moves here are going to be Flip Turn, Scald, Play Rough, and Mirror Coats. This is going to be acting as our switch-in primarily to stuff like the Iron Crown, the Archaludon. We can go for like a Scald on Archaludon, try to get a burn. If we get a burn on Archaludon, it's going to be really good for us because Archaludons are pretty much your only rocker. You don't really want to run rocks on your Terra Great Tusk here. So if we get like a burn, we can really whittle down to Archaludon faster. Miracle also helps for fishing against stuff like Zapdos. Of course, their only Miracle immune is going to be quad weak to Play Rough, so that's pretty good there. Next we have our Chi-Yu. It's going to be Choice Scarf. We have Flamethrower, Overheat, Will-O-Wisp, and Dark Pulse. This is basically just Mod's max special attack. We're able to outspeed Great Tusk. We don't outspeed stuff like a +1 Crown, but Crown shouldn't be able to do much to us. Or if it does come, we have other ways to deal with it, like Goldango. So it's not really that big of a threat, I think. Will-O-Wisp is interesting because we can go for Will-O-Wisp first into predicting like a Moon swap, because Roy Moon should always pretty much be like the Chi-Yu swap. We saw it in Unlocks a whole lot. People just bring like Fat Spliff, Roost Moon with U-turn. So if we get a Will-O-Wisp burn to that, that's going to be pretty big. And eventually that chip, it should be able to add up into an overheat kill. Next we have Mandibuzz here. This is going to be Max Spadef, Roost, Whirlwind, Defog, Knockoff, Terra Ground Mandibuzz. Now the reason why we get Terra Ground Mandibuzz is because if you look at my team, you can see like you could probably bring like a Choice Specs or Offensive Zapdos, like Max Special Attack, Hurricane, Thunderbolt, stuff like that can be quite scary. So having like a ground type to stop like potentially like even like a Specs Zapdos will be really valuable here. So, and I didn't really want to bring the Garchomp because I wanted to have Defog here. Because if I brought Garchomp over Mandibuzz, then I would have no removal. And in a game like this, I didn't think I can last long without removal. So I thought Mandibuzz was kind of necessary here, especially with Chi-Yu. Like if you have a Chi-Yu that's not Boots, you really want to have good removal, I think. Especially when you pair that with stuff like Aloe and the Fizzanipti, who just get in Chi-Yu as many times as possible. You really want to have good removal. So for that, we just opted to go for like a Terra Ground Mandibuzz, which we'll see actually Terra here. But yeah, mostly just want a ground type. Can also defog and stuff like the Zapdos. And lastly, we have our Choice Specs Goldango here. This is going to be our one breaker for the game. Because if you look into their team, they don't really have a Goldango switch in. Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Focus Blast, Dazzling Gleam. This hits basically everything on the team. You don't really want to go into Roaring Moon, because if you take too much chip on Roaring Moon, then you're not going to be able to check stuff like the Chi-Yu. So there isn't really a switch in for Goldango here. So between Goldango and Chi-Yu, I should be able to have like some opportunities to come in and go for like a huge breaking hit. So that's going to be our team here. So with that, let's get into the match here. Alright, here we got the game. So as you can see here, he decided to bench the Araquanid and the Iron Crown. Iron Crown makes a lot of sense because I have Goldango, I have AV Aloe, even Garchomp. It's pretty hard to justify Iron Crown here, I think. Araquanid, you know, you could argue it could be over Salazzle, but he didn't bring it, he brought Salazzle instead, so it's good for us. So this is that. Let's get into the game here. So as we can see, he is going to be Terra Fire Great Tusk. Now this is going to be important because when you see like a Terra type that's weak to Aloe, you could probably assume it's going to be Weakness Policy. You'll see this pop up later too, but people like to bring Weakness Policy Terra Fire to try to beat the Aloe. But we're going to lead Aloe here. Now the reason why we let Aloe is because in Mox, the most like common lead would be like Arcalon and try to get Rock Step immediately. And really my best answer to that is try to go for like a burn Fallow turn 1, because I don't want to like lead Goldango into stuff like Great Tusk or Roaring Moon. So Aloe felt like the best mid ground here. Also cover for lead Zapdos. Zapdos can't really do much to this and wants to go for like a big Thunderbolt. I can Mirror Coat it. So Aloe is like the best lead here. Try to fish for a Scald Bird on a Arcalon. So we're going to lead Aloe here. They're going to lead the Zapdos, so this is alright for us. We can either go for a Mirror Coats or a flip turn. Here I opt to go for a flip turn, trying to get out what my opponent wants to do here. So he's gonna go for Volt Switch, does 37%. That feels to be offensive. Here let's go for flip turn. So he does go to the Roaring Moon, which tells me that he knows that Mirror Coat is the thing here. So good to keep in mind for the future. Just flip turn on this. I believe I go into Fizzanipti here. This is most certainly going to be a U-turn here, but no problem. We just U-turn ourselves here, no problem. Yep, U-turn gets clicked, and he's going to go into Zapdos, so does not go to Arcalon, so that's pretty good for us. We go for U-turn. Do we get a lucky poison here? So I'm not sure why I didn't go Arcalon. I thought it was a pretty safe play, but he goes Zapdos, gets punched immediately. Here we go Chi-Yu. This is a pretty free Chi-Yu here. because we want to get that bird on Roaring Moon off immediately. Now, usually in mocks, how this plays out is that I always go for Will-O-Wisp on like whatever is in front of me. Like if it's Great Test, Archalon, like I'll always go for Will-O-Wisp here, because like you most certainly are going to switch into Roaring Moon here. So here I go for the Will-O-Wisp play. As you can see, he does go to Roaring Moon, and we do land the Will-O-Wisp. So this is now burned, is now way less of a threat. It's gonna be taking a chip every now and then. Here, obviously, I have to switch out. I don't want to take a knockoff because if it loses my Choice Scarf, I'm going to be in a pretty bad spot later. So we're going to switch out here into Fizz Nippy, I believe. Yeah, Fizz Nippy comes out. We get our Shuckleberry knocked off, which is a bit annoying for a Namor Slate game, but we just go for another free U-turn here. Not a big deal. Yeah, here to go Archalon. Not a big deal. We use U-turn on this. This is my opportunity to get Goldango here, because if you look at their team, Shovel isn't really a very safe switch, and you can't go. The problem is you can't go Roaring Moon here, because if this clicks Focus Blast and you go Roaring Moon and you lose this, then you're gonna lose your Chi switching. So you can't go Roaring Moon here. So his play is either like to stay in or to go into something like Zapdos or something, right? So he can't really switch into this right now. So Goldango gets a pretty big Shadow Ball off. This is now at 12% now, so his Rocker's like basically dead. He is gonna get a Rocks up here, which is a bit annoying, but we're able to defog that later. In fact, I try to defog right now. He makes it switch into Roaring Moon here, so good on him. I am going to use this opportunity to Terra, because I want to make sure that my Mana Buzz isn't going to be taking rocks, because I am lefties, and I want to make sure that I'm not giving Zapdos free full switch opportunities every single time it comes in. Here it reveals Taunt, so a bit annoying. We can't defog on the Roaring Moon here, and I don't have a U-turn to pivot on this, so I have to hard switch out into Fez. Here I believe he goes for a U-turn here. Yep, he goes for a U-turn. He goes into Great Tusk. Now this is a pretty threatening position. He can obviously click EQ to kill me, but my switch into this is always going to be Ogerpon. Yeah, I could go to Ogerpon right here. He goes for a Rapid Spin here, so interesting play. But he's going to take Rocky Helmet. Yeah, I go for Spiky Shield to scout what he wants to go for. He reveals Temper Flare. Now, how Temper Flare works is that if you hit it into Protect, it doesn't actually deal double damage. It only works if the move like fails. So it's not going to deal double damage here. But I'm still going to make the switch out into Aloe here, I believe, or Mana Buzz. Just want to see what it wants to do here. It goes in there, Temper Flare. Not going to do anything. Here I go for Roost, try to get out his moveset. Feel CC, not quite a 2 KO. So we are going to Roost a little bit here. Here I decided to go for a Defog. He actually gets the crit here. So if I had went for the Roost, or yeah, if I went for the Roost, this actually would have been a bit dangerous here. So I went for Defog here, so I am able to get the rocks off. Here I pivot out into the Aloe here, but because this is max attack Great Tusk, and because my Aloe is max HP and no defense, this CC will actually be a 2 KO. So maybe a bit of an oversight in the builder, but here I decided to predict that he goes for another CC. It's going to Goldango here. Don't want to stack the Aloe quite yet. He does score a CC, so that's good. Doesn't click EQ, that's good. Here I double back into Aloe, because I know he knows 9 specs, so he knows that going to be faster. So I still max Aloe here. He goes for a Temper Flare, so that's good for me. And now I'm able to live this the next hit. I do threaten him out, because even if he has weakness policy, because he clicks CC like 5 times, that literally might kill him. So I do force him out, which is quite good. Goes into Zapdos. This is my free Chiyu opportunity here, so I just go into Chiyu here. I could go for free Overheat. He sacks our Archalon, which is huge, so that means no more rocks are going up. Here he goes back to Roaring Moon. I have to switch her, obviously. I can't lose my Scarf here. Just goes for our U-turn, that's fine. Now here, because he didn't go for EQ like a single time versus like my Goldango and stuff, I thought there's like a chance he just didn't have it, so I just stayed in here like a moron, but yeah, spoiler, I got EQ'd and died, so I lose my Pheasant Nifty, but this is gonna be free Aloe here. Now the reason why I went Aloe over Chiyu is because I want to try to burn a weakness policy right now, because even if he does go for a spin, I can just go Chiyu the next turn and kill this, so it's not a big deal. He does go to Rapid Spin, so we do get to proc the Policy Scout. But this is now in range of Chiyu. Like, even if he does decide to Terra here, he's still gonna die. I ran a calc. So we just go for over here. He here should kill the Great Tusk. He decides to go Namorous. Namorous takes 92%. Now here, I'm thinking like this might be like a custom healing wish set, right? So knowing that and knowing like if he clicks the healing wish here and I go for another overheat, he could go back into Great Tusk. Here I make a play to go into Owl, try to get into like a more favorable position, because if I just go for an overheat and he gets the custom healing wish off, he's gonna be able to go into like whatever, and while I'm still at like a -2 Chiyu, which is not gonna be favorable for me. So here I decide to switch out rather than just go for overheat here, predicting the custom. He does real custom, so healing wish goes off, not a big deal. He starts going to Zapdos here, which is quite interesting because overheat with a skill list, I think. But Zapdos gets it's a para healed, which is or poison healed, which is not that big of a deal to be honest. Here I think I decided to just go for a flip turn here, or no, here I click Miracle. I click Miracle here. Yeah, I'm trying to scout what he wants to do. I do reveal I have the Miracle, but here, like if he wants to stay in, like he's gonna die a play off. So I just go for play off right now. He goes for a U-turn, so good play on him. Just goes right back and out to Zapdos. Able to take the play off, no problem. Here, I just go into Mana Buzz because I know for a fact he's probably going to click either Volt Switch or Thunderbolt. And yep, he goes for Thunderbolt here. Now, because I know that he's probably going to click Hurricane here, because your last move here is going to be a Roost and Hurricane, like surely, right? Because like surely you want Hurricane to hit Garchomp. So knowing that he's going to go for Hurricane for sure here, I can use this opportunity to bring my Goldango in for free. So I go into Golda here on the Hurricane, able to take that just fine. And now this is a free Goldango hit. I can go for a Specs to make it rain Shadow Ball. Here I decided to go for Shadow Ball here. He decides to go into Great Tusk to just sack it, so fair enough. We kill Great Tusk here for Specs Goldango. Goes right back onto Zapdos. Now here, as you can see by the remaining Pokemon, Goldango is like slower than all three and probably gets killed by all three. So at this point, there really wasn't much to gain by still having Goldango. So at this point, I decided to just let him kill me. So he's going to Thunderbolt and kill my Goldango. This is going to give me free Chiyu here, so I just go Chiyu. Orby is a kill from here, and he is going to be forced to go into the Roaring Moon, which is very, very close to 2 KO. It might be a roll, I'm not sure. But I think here I just go for it. If I'm not, no, I don't go for it. I just go into Aloe here on the Roost. Here I'm threatening Play Rough, obviously. He goes for U-turn back into Zapdos as he go for another Play Rough here. Or no, I'll go for Skull, trying to fish for a burn on Zapdos. Here, like if he clicks Thunderbolt and I click Miracle, he'll die. If I click Play Rough and he goes to Roaring Moon, he'll die. So this is forcing like some interesting 50-50 scenarios here. Here I opted to click Miracle, because even if he does go into Roaring Moon, I can just like threaten out the next turn anyways. So I just go for Miracle, try to fish for a Thunderbolt. He does go to Thunderbolt, and I do click Miracle, and this is just going to fucking die. So Zapdos dead. That's like the biggest threat. So he goes to Lazo here. At this point, looking at the pieces I have left, the only way I lose if this is like a Slack versus Lazo. So I just opt to go hard Chiyu here. Try to see what he wants to do. He goes for a Sludge Wave here. I'm able to threaten this out with an Overheat. So I do go for it here. Goes back to Roaring Moon. Here, this is a very easy back into Aloe. He can't really do much about it. Yeah, Roost. I can threaten the Play Rough here. He's kind of forced to switch here. And because of our AV, we're actually able to take this Sludge Wave pretty easily. Yeah, click Sludge Wave does 31%. We just switch now into our Chiyu. Now this Lazo can't regenerate HP like Moon can, so all this chip is going to be accumulating. I just go for a safe Flamethrower here. Eventually his Roaring will run out of Roost. I go Ogerpon here because I realize if he clicks Knockoff on my Aloe switch, there is a chance I could be in trouble. So I have to just go to Ogerpon here, just pretty much to sack it off. I go for Elise here, predicting his Roost, but unfortunately I miss, which is a bit annoying. Because now he can just click Taunt, and I can't do anything. So I just go Mana Buzz here. Ogerpon doesn't have any attacks, so I have to go Mana Buzz here and click like Knockoff here, which is like pitiful damage, but it's still I'm still getting like at least some chip. But basically the goal here is just for him to kill me, so I can go to my Aloe for free, and then click Play Rough. If he wants to click Knockoff, I'll go and Play Rough. No problem. He's going to kill my Mana Buzz here. I just go Aloe here. This is a very free Play Rough. He's going to try to Roost here, try to scale the damage, but player was doing like 80% to Roaring Moon, which is a lot. So he can't really roost this off. I just go for another player off and knock out the moon. And now with just the Lazzle and my Scarf Chiyu, this game is now over. So he clicks Nasty Plot, tries to go for endgame here, but I just switch her now into my Chiyu here. Not a big deal. And Chiyu will be able to win us the game. So that is going to be GG. We are able to win our quarterfinals match. So this is a pretty big game for me, I think. It was pretty cool that I got to be able to play and beat my DFL captain. So yeah, shouts to MF Dune Desires. Shouts to those guys. I think I played pretty well. We had a pretty good plan going to this game, going for like the immediate Will-O-Wisp into the Roaring Moon. Goldengo being the big breaker here. I think I played this game pretty well. Scout for the cut snap, scout for the weakness policy. So yeah, pretty proud of this game. So, and if we look over at the scores here, you can see that we beat Team US West 6-1. So they got fucking smoked. Team US West got fucking smoked. We smoked them like 6-1. So yeah, we smoked them so bad they didn't even play a game. I'm pretty sure they dead gamed. They dead game won the games because they got their ass beat so bad. So this is gonna be W for us, and we are going to move to semifinals. So I'll catch you guys right there. All right, here we have semifinals. So we're now one of the 4 remaining teams left in the tour. The other teams left are going to be Team Bangladesh, Team Rest of the World, and Team UK. So Team Rest of the World, Team UK, those are the other 2 super teams left. And fortunately for us, those 2 teams are facing each other. So our opponent will be Team Bangladesh. Now our opponent here is going to be Kellen Brito. This guy, I pretty sure I saw his face around in like some other tours in the past, like EPC, if people remember that. Outside of that, don't really know much about him. Might be a Salonga player, not really sure. But here we can see the matchup here is quite weird. They have a Slowking G Walking Wake Brute Bonnet core, which is quite interesting. And then they have stuff like the Iron Valiant, Iron Treads, Gliscor Double Ground core. And then they have a Roll Some Heat. And then they have a Clawitzer. Like, what's going on here, bro? So they have quite the interesting team, to say the least, I think. So immediately what I noticed is that they have the Gliscor, which is going to be very, very annoying for me. For those who like know my playstyle, I don't think it's very good into stuff like Gliscor because it just gets like infinite hazards. It's just toxic to everything. You can go for EQ knockoff. I think Gliscor is a very, very bad matchup for my type of play. Walking Away can also be a pretty big hindrance if it's like a Terra Electric set to break for like stuff like my Aloe. Iron Valiant, not really worried that much about. I have stuff like the Fez, I have stuff like the Goldengo. I think Iron Valiant being that big of an issue. Mostly just like the Gliscor, him getting up hazards will be pretty annoying for us, I think, here. So that is to go into our team. So at first, we have our Avila Kasui. We're bringing Avila again. This is going to be Terra Poison. We're running Crunch, Rapid Spin, Recover, and Ice Fang. This is actually going to be max attack Avila with Strong Jaw. So this is Strong Jaw boosted Ice Fang and Strong Jaw boosted Crunch. Now if you look into their team, Strong Jaw, Ice Crunch, or Ice Crunch, Ice Fang, and Crunch hits their entire team. It's going to do like probably like around like 30 or 40 to Rotom depending on its investment. It's going to obviously do a lot to Slowking G. It's going to do a lot to Gliscor if it's not like a Terra that can not be hit super effective. And of course we want Rapid Spin here. Now the reason why we're Terra Poison is because I want to avoid like a Toxic from Gliscor. And because of Avila's sheer bulk, we can actually not really care about if Gliscor is going to be hitting us with like super effective EQ. As long as it's not like a Swords against it, it can't really 2KO Avila with EQ. So the idea here is that we just come in on Gliscor, we're able to spin away anything, we get threatened out with Ice Fang. If he doesn't want to Terra, then we're not a complete stand up because of our Strong Jaw Ice Fang and Strong Jaw Crunch. Crunch covers for like a Terra Ghost Gliscor, and anything else will just be hit hard straight up by like Ice Fang and Crunch. So that's the idea there. Next we have our Goldengo here. This is going to be Choice Scarf. Bring Choice Goldengo here again because if you look at their team, they don't really have a Ghost Resist. Like their Ghost Resist is going to be a Brute Bonnet, which might not really come because you look at the team like Fiznifty, Mandibuzz, Avila, Ogrepon. Not the best matchup for it, obviously. So Goldango has a pretty good matchup here. Our moves are going to be Hex, Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, and Trick. Now Hex is able to hit the Glyph Core extra hard. Make It Rain can hit anything else a Shadow Ball can't really hit. Basically the idea of this is that we just come in, able to click Shadow Ball, able to get a lot of damage off into something. And worst case scenario, we can always go for like a trick into like stuff like an SD Glyph Core or like a CMG King or whatever. Next is our Fizz Nifty. It's going to be Piop Berry. This is like the go-to answer for Valiant always. Just slot Piop on your poison and you'll probably be fine. Roost Future, Play Off, and Beat Up. Now we have Beat Up because this actually does decent chunks to G King. If G King wants to come in, it's going to be taking a decent chunk. Play Off obviously covers for the Iron Valiant. We're able to get poisons on stuff like Rotom Heat as well. Future for Momentum and Roost for Longevity, of course. Next we have Aloe here. It's going to be AV as always, the standard Who set. So turn Aqua Jet, Play Off, and Mirror Coat. This is literally just like the standard set. Like every single time there's a special attacker, I just bring this. Just max HP, max with FAV. Obviously acting as a switch into the Walking Wake and the Iron Valiant if it's a special. Can also act as a switch into stuff like the Clovitzer. Next to our Ogerpon, this is also going to be a Who classic, Rocky Helmet Ogerpon with Encore, Synthesis, Knockoff, and U-Turn. Now the reason why we have this is because this can act as a Encore bot for stuff like an SD Glyph Core. It can act as a so if Glyph wants to go for like a SD Agility set with like Dual Wing Beat and Sword Dance, this can act as bait for a Dual Wing Beat. And if it goes for Dual Wing Beat, I just go into my Guard Chomp next, and it'll be taking like a whole bunch of damage. So that's the idea there. Knockoff is for getting rid of the boots on stuff like the Rotom Heat, because I am bringing Hazards this game because I am bringing Spin, but not on Ogerpon. It's gonna be on my last one here in a sec. But the idea here is that we're just able to get knockoffs off, knockoff stuff like the Rotom, knockoff Walking Wake, knockoff Treads, Glyph Core, basically any on your team. So, and then lastly we have our Hazard bot here. It's gonna be Guard Chomp, Max HP, Max Defense, Stealth Rock, Spikes, Dragon Tail, and Surf. Now the reason why we have Surf is because it hits stuff like the Rotom Heat while also being on stuff like the Iron Tread still. We can't hit the G King super effective, but we do have Dragon Tail, and we can phase stuff out with Dragon Tail here. And honestly, with dual hazards, Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet, we can get some pretty good chip on stuff like the Glyph Core if we bait for a Dual Wing Beat or something. And that's going to be the team. So, quite a weird matchup, I think. But I think Goldango can find some opportunities. I think Avlog is pretty strong here. Iron Rock Lee as an offensive tool. So, with that, that's going to be the matchup. And let's just get into our semifinals game. Alright, as you can see here, I did not end up playing my game. We actually ended up winning so bad that even if they did win like against me and Mount-A, they still would have lost because other guys just won all the games. So we actually ended up just dead gaming. So a bit of a shame, but you know, we already won a game, so not that big, not that huge deal. Pretty happy we won. As you can see, the other series here, rest of the world versus UK, actually ended up being a tie. So what happens is that when there's a tie in playoffs for this tour, you have to wait an extra week for tie breaks. So we had to wait like a huge extra week for these 3 games to be played out. So they did give us like a bit of a break after semifinals, which is nice, I guess. But these 3 games ended up in Team UK winning, which is quite a big upset. Now going to tour, Team Rest of the World, definitely like the biggest favorite to win. I mean, just look at their quality of players, right? So huge upset that's Team UK won. So I mean, I'm not going to blame about it, right? We're not going to complain about it. So with that, our finals opponents are going to be Team UK, and with that, let's get into the finals prep here. Alright, so we are here for finals of the Draft League World Cup. We're up against Team UK. Now they're the ones that knocked out Team Rest of the World in semifinals, so obviously we're facing them in finals. So far we've been pretty much destroying everybody in playoffs. I mean, we've had multiple dead games through the last 2 playoffs games, so I think our team morale going into this was pretty good. And you know, the team environments, this is like probably like the best team environments I've ever had, to be honest. Even like including like the current day team tours I've been in, like DPL, DCL. This is probably like the best team environments in my opinion. Everybody was just like so eager to help each other out. We were all giving each other mocks. We had good captains, good activity. So yeah, honestly, this was like the best team experience ever. So our morale was super high. Huge shout out to my captains for even letting me play in finals, to be honest, because of my dead game in semifinals, you know, didn't even get to play that, but you know, they still gave me a chance to play in finals. So huge shout outs to them for giving me the chance. So with that, let's just look into our matchup here. So our opponent is going to be Josh. I don't know too much about Josh, other than they're from Team UK, but it is going to be an Ogerpon mirror match, as you can see here. He has the Ogerpon, Terra, Darkrai, Iron Treads, Dragonite, Diancie, Mesprit, Araquanid, and Swalot. Now, before we get into this, what I did end up doing for this game is I ended up making like a huge prep doc, which I'm showing on screen right now. So basically, the idea with this is that, well, for like any finals game, I usually like to make like a huge prep doc, just like write down like all like the big threat sets I think that could come. Now the reason for this is because I don't want to get like surprised. I don't want to get caught unaware in the match. So the idea here is that we just like write out like every single possible set. Then we should be prepared for anything. Basically, that's the idea. So that's usually what I like to do for playoffs when I want to go all out for a matchup. So I'm just going over for a doc over here. So here, obviously I put a matchup here. I compiled their replays. And here I just like noted like what they brought, what kind of sets they like to bring. I know they like to bring Power, but Trick Room Diancie. They like to Terra Diancie, Life Orb, Dragonite. Here, you know, the Bandit Ogerpon, Cover Cloak D-Knight, it's pretty crazy. Wisp Lead Rye, Hazard's Mesprit or Diancie. Here, Hypnosis Rye. So this basically gets get like an idea of like what kind of sets they want to bring or what they can bring. Yeah, here just looking at more sets that you could bring here. Spike Summon Ogerpon, kind of like what I do. Will-O-Wisp Sub Thunder Rye. Here is like where I start like listing like all like the sets I think that can realistically come. So Spike Senses and Ogerpon. I think SD could come as like a player up set. Could be a Bandit. It could be like an all-out attacking set. Darkrai could be Mirror Herb. We saw a lot of Mirror Herb in mocks. Now the reason why for Mirror Herb is because this is like the same set I believe Mount brought versus me in the BBR Summer Scramble. He brought a Mirror Herb Darkrai with Nasty Plot. So the idea here is that if Ogerpon comes in on Darkrai, try to revenge kill it, it can just proc Mirror Herb. If it procs Mirror Herb, then Darkrai will be faster because it's higher base speed and also be a +1. Goes around Boots, Leftovers. Life Orb could be a Calm Mind, could be Knockoff or AV Aloe, could be Thunder, could be Blunder Policy too. Iron Treads, Booster, E-Belt, Air Balloon, Lefty, Citrus. Could be Policy maybe like a Rapid Spin set. Dragonite, we expect a Life Orb, could be a DD late game, could be Agility Weakness Policy lead, could be an Encore. The big one was Terra Diancie actually, so a lot of people like to bring like an offensive Diancie because Ogerpon was so bad in this matchup. A lot of people what they end up doing is they end up tearing the Diancie, and this is like what we expected going into this game. So we expected Terra Diancie to show up. As for like the Terra type, we saw a lot. It could be like Terra like Fire, could be Terra Fire like Weakness Policy sets, could be Terra Ground for Earth Power. Get the additional boost on Earth Power. Could be Terra Poison. So here, just knowing down policy, could be Trick Room, could be Rock Polish, Meteor Beam, or it could just be like a split of hazard set for Chiyu, obviously. Araquanid, obviously known, could be like a Water Absorb set for Infestation, Trap Aloe, could be Choice Band, Water Absorb, could be Stockpile, Swalot. I just know that it's not coming. I mean, yeah. Admittedly, I disrespect this Swalot. My bad. And usually I would post like all like my self mocks here. I got a bit lazy here to be honest, but usually like for like these type of docs I like to put like the self replays and we'll look back on those. But you get the idea here. Basically, the idea is that you just go into like the match fully prepared, knowing like what your opponent could bring. You're prepared for any situation. So with that, I think we can just get into the prep here. So first, as you can see, we have our Avlog here, who is going to be Terra Ghost. Now, the reason why I Terra Ghost Outlook is because if you want to spin block the Iron Treads, because Hazard Stack is pretty good into your team. So I want to be able to get those rocks. I want to be able to start chipping stuff down like the Diancie of rocks, the Arachnid if it wants to come in without boots, Darkrai, Ogerpon. I want to be able to start chipping those guys with rocks. So the main idea here is that we're going to be using Terra Avola here to spin block the Iron Treads forever. Now our moves here: Rasp, Recover, Stealth Rock, Icicle Spear. We just went like full Spidef on this. We don't actually need any Fizzef on this at all. Now the reason why we went Spidef specifically is because he could bring stuff like Volt Switch on Treads. They could bring like special Draco Meteor Dragonite. We actually are able to tank like even like 2 Dawn Fist and Moonblast on Diancie as well with this set. So, and the reason why we have Icicle Spear over like Icicle Crash is because for Icicle Spear you can actually break multi-scale. So the first hit will hit multi-scale, then the second will not be affected by it. So that's the reason why we have Icicle Spear. Raspin obviously for removal, it wants to go for like a Stealth Rock with Treads or Spikes on Diancie. Having removal here is really valuable, and there's no Ghost type on this team, so Raspin is very free. Next is going to be a Garchomp here. Now this Garchomp has very specific EVs, which we can get into later, but we're going to be Yache Berry, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Steel Shot, and Crunch. This is just an all-out attacking Garchomp. This is just going to be our lead here. Alright, I'm pretty sure it's our lead, but the idea here is that we're just able to get as much damage as possible on basically anything, and we can click EQ into Iron Treads, we can click Crunch into Mesprit, we can click Scale Shot into Dragonites, we can click Crunch or Mesprit, Scale Shot for Dragonite EQ, Stone Edge is for hitting the Arachnid, hit D-Knight as well. I'm mostly just going to be able to hit the Arachnid. Now, as you can see here, we have some very specific EVs. Stats. We have EVs in every single stat for special attack. So, the HP and special defense, this is exactly enough to be able to take a modest Moonblast from Diancie from full. The defense is enough to take exactly, I believe it's like an Ice Spinner from Iron Treads. Like, I'm pretty sure it's enough to take like Ice Spinner and like EQ or something like that. Speed, obviously, to be able to outspeed the Dragonite, of course. And the remaining, we just dumped into attack here. We just want to be able to come in and click buttons, basically. The Scale Shot resists, obviously, are not very good here, so that's the idea of Garchomp here. Next over Aloe, it's going to be just a Sulfest Classic AV Aloe. They have a Darkrai, they have a Diancie, they have a Mesprit. Could be a special Dragonite too. Just want to go AV Aloe here. Just be able to blanket check those guys. Flip Turn, Play Rough, Octa, and Mirror Coats. Now, obviously, Darkrai can run knockoff, but if it doesn't run knockoff, like I can still live the next hit, and I can go for a Play Rough, get some chip on that guy. And plus, I also have like a Chiyu in the back, anyways. So, Chiyu, between like Chiyu and Aloe, you kind of force Darkrai into running like weird sets. Like it wants to run like Focus Blast at Chiyu, but you need like Thunder to specifically to hit Aloe very hard. So between like Mandibuzz, Alomola, Chiyu, Darkrai gets kind of limited in like the sets it can bring. So AV Aloe, pretty safe here. Next we have our Ogerpon. Now this is Max Spidef Ogerpon. Now the reason why we have Max Spidef Ogerpon is this is actually a very specific set for specifically like a Power Herb, Meteor Beam, Diancie, for example, because with our Max Spidef, we can actually take pretty much anything Diancie wants to throw at us, even if it is like a Terra Blast. We can go for stuff like a Leech Seed, be able to slowly recover HP on that guy. We can actually knock off with a weakness policy with knockoff. If it wants to go like Terra Ground, we can go for Ivy Cudgel, since this of course is our reliable recovery move here. So this is pretty much just specifically for a Spidef for Diancie. As that's like really, like realistically, like your only like big threat into my team. Next we have our Mandibuzz here. This is gonna be classic just Fizzef for the Ogerpon, obviously. Foul Play for SC Ogerpon, U-Turn, Roost, Toxic. Very classic set. Toxic obviously works with D-Knight as well the Diancie. This classic Fizzef for the Ogerpon also works with D-Knight. And then lastly we have our Chiyu here. This is actually gonna be very bulky Chiyu. This is the same set I brought versus the week 2 Darkrai, so we can actually take a Focus Blast from full from Darkrai, and the rest of it is up into special attack here. Overheat, Flame for Dark Pulse, Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp works for stuff like the Dragonite, works for stuff like the Ogerpon. Rest of the things we can just click Overheat on, no problem. And yeah, that's going to be our team. So with this will be our team for finals, and I'll catch you guys at the match. Alright, here is the finals game. So immediately we see he has the custom avatar drip. I don't. You know, a mere peasant like me can't ever hope to compete. Here we see he benched the Arachnid and the Swalot, so no surprise there. He really wants to bring those top 6, it felt like, especially in the mocks which showed. So let's just see what the Terra types are here. So he reveals to be Terra Fire on the DNC. We're obviously Terra Ghost and Orgrippon. We're also Terra Grass, Orgrippon. We're also Terra Ghost on Avalugg here. Here we always led Garchomp in mocks. It just got like very good value into everything. But once they mess with it, go for a Crunch. Once they answer, go for EQ. Just got very good value into everything here. We just want to lead this. Here's the Iron Treads here, which reveals to be Balloon. So I am kind of forced out here, but I do have a very good switch into my Avalugg Asui, and obviously you're not going to go for a Volt Switch into a Garchomp lead. So this is a very safe Avalugg on my part. Just going to Avalugg very easily. He clicks EQ because of our Fizz Def. Because this isn't even Fizz Def Avalugg, by the way. This is 0 Fizz Def Avalugg. And it's not even a 2 KO, so so absolutely able to chew that. Lefties. We just Terra Ghost here. Goes with Voltage, just 11%. Does fucking nothing. We're able to eat that up very easily. Now here, I just go for rocks here. The rocks are very free and they're going to stay up forever. So I get my rocks up, very easy. Here, I believe I'm going to my Garchomp here. I want to scout if this has like a, if this is like specs, if it's like Shadow Ball or anything. He doesn't go for Thunder Wave, so pretty good for me. I'm able to get my Garchomp in for free. Now this is a very free crunch here. I'm just going for it. 44% respectable damage. I do get a defense drop, but he reveals the eject button self goob, which is quite funny. So he's immediately going to get out of there. Back into Iron Treads. So here, just obviously go back to Avalugg. It's not a big deal. EQ, I live. Ghost Harassment, not going to do anything, of course, because of my Terra Ghost. Now here, I just go for Icicle Spear here. He doesn't really have a good switch in, so he goes Mesprit. It's going to do a good chunk here. So 1, 2, 3 hits. You know, can't complain. Here, I think I just go for another one, anticipating like a side noise or something. Or no, I'll go for recovery here. Yeah, it makes sense. Here, just go for another Icicle Spear, I believe. He's actually going to heal much like immediately. It's quite funny, but you know, that's good to get out of the way. Dancing can't go for rocks. If he wants to go for rocks, it has to be on the Iron Treads. Here goes to the Dark right here, but he does get up a Light Screen. But because it's not Light Clay, it's only going to last for 3 turns. And I do have a very good switch into my Aloe here, so I end up doing that. Darkrai can't really do much about it. Does look for Dark Pulse, yeah, 20%. Jesus Christ, right? 20%? Like, what the fuck? Like, this cannot be okay. But Dark Pulse is 20%. I just switch around here or go for Playoff. I think go for Playoff here, just get chip on this. Because I know I can take basically anything from this range. Just goes to another Dark Pulse. I go for Playoff here. There's some pretty good shit to Darkrai. I just go for Flip Turn here. It feels Thunder. But because of our Max Whiff AV, it's not even a 2 KO. We just Flip Turn here. This Darkrai is basically dead. We just go Chi-Yu. Try to revenge this. He is going to sack this, I believe. Yeah, just sacks Darkrai here. Now, what this tells me is that Diancie and Dragonite are most likely not going to be they're most likely not going to be like tailored for Chi-Yu, right? Because obviously you would not sack Darkrai there if you have an obvious switch into Diancie or Dragonite. So this tells me that the Diancie and Dragonite are most likely going to be like offensive. So he just sacks Darkrai, goes into Diancie here. Now this is Terra Fire, but we specifically have Orgrippon for this. So I just make the pivot to Orgrippon here. He does go for Rock Polish. So that tells me that he is most certainly going to be a weakness policy. So made the right call, bring a Spadef Orgrippon for this. I just go for a Leaf Seed here, I believe. He does go for a Terra Fire, Terra Blast. Is almost a 2 KO, but because Leaf Seed and Leftovers is not. And now I'm free to go for a Moonblast here, or my bad, knockoff here, get rid of weakness policy I know he has. Here it goes to knockoff. I knock off the weakness policy, so now this is like pretty much threat neutered, right? I just spin to Aloe. Doesn't really matter if he has wants to Terra Blast me here. I just go for a safe Flip Turn. Now this is funny, right? The Leaf Seed only healed me for like 2% because of Aloe's massive HP stat. But here just a pretty free Flip Turn. It actually goes into Dragonite here. Here I just go Avalugg. I want to get rid of this Dragonite because this is like the only threat he has. If he wants to like hit me for like a big Draco, it's not a big deal. I mean, in my eyes, like if I get rid of this Dragonite, this is like this only big threat remaining. So in my eyes, this is a worthy trade. I just go to Avlug. He does reveal he is special and that he is Life Orb. So this will die to Icicle Spear here. So we are able to pick up the D-Knight, but we are in range of treads here. But honestly, that's a worthy trade. Like getting rid of D-Knight for like HP on Avlug is always a worthy trade. He's gonna go back to the Dancy, get the Healing Wish, but without the weakest policy, this isn't really a threat. I just go into my Aloe. I can go to my Garchomp even. Like +1, I can always live in Blast from full of Garchomp. So if he doesn't want to do this, it's not a big deal. I just go back to, I actually go hard Garchomp here, which is crazy. I go hard Garchomp here. I could just go Aloe, but I go hard Garchomp here. But it's fine because I lived to move my anyways, guys. Look, I live it anyways. 1%. Yeah, this is an absolute max roll. So he can't kill me from there. EV'd. Here I do predict a swap here into treads. I go for scale shots. Because even if he does like stay in, he's going to be in range of the Chi-Yu later. And I can just force out of Aloe anyways. It's going to be taking rocks. So scale shot was a good play here. Also covered for a switch out like this. So it'll depot the bloom on treads. I can now go for an EQ. There's not really an EQ switching anymore. So go for an EQ. This dies. Now Ogerpon is forced in. And now as you can see, we're up like 6-2. The Dancy is at 50% coming in. Ogerpon. I have a full HP Mandibuzz. I have a Scarf Chi-Yu. He can't tear this Ogerpon anymore. It's pretty much over. So I just opt to go for a scale shot here. Get as much chip as I possibly can. Of course, I only get 2 hits, but at this point, it doesn't really matter. He just goes for Cudgel, kills me. But at this point, Chi-Yu just cleans the game here. I just go to Chi-Yu, and Dark Pulse kills Ogerpon, and Diancie comes in at 50% now, and this will also die to Dark Pulse. So that's gonna be GG. So we're able to take off our finals win. A pretty good, pretty dominant win, honestly. Like Mandibuzz didn't even come out. Chi-Yu 100% HP. Pretty dominant win, I'd say. So I'm pretty proud of this win. I think this is like probably one of my proudest wins of my career. So we are able to take that W. Now if you look over at the results here, you can see that we won versus Team EK 5-1. Yeah, we beat them so bad we dead gamed the end. We beat them so bad they dead gamed. But we won the tournament pretty easily. Only ones who lost are my bum ass captains, J-Surf and Panda. These guys suck balls, bro. I'm just kidding. But we're able to win pretty convincingly against Team UK. So with that, we are the DLWC champions. So with that, let's just pivot into the end card sequence here. Yo, just thought I'd get some like closing thoughts on like the tour and such. So we were able to win the tour as Team Canada. Now this being like my first major draft tour on the scene on Smogon, you know, pretty good feeling to walk out this tour, being able to win finals, being able to play so much. So huge thanks to like team for letting me play, even let alone like even drafting me. Huge thanks like everybody who like gave me mocks like throughout the tour and such, like my teammates, my captains, my people from my outside tour. You know, I had a lot of help for these games. I put a lot of effort into these, as you can see here. So huge thanks to everybody who gave me the support needed for me to win. So yeah, I mean, outside that, you know, special thanks to the captains, Panda and J-Scurf. I know I talk shit about them a whole lot on the channel. I know I talk shit about them a whole lot in DMs, but you know, all in love. All in love. Those guys, they're probably like the funniest and honestly the best people I've met in the community so far. And yeah, that's kind of all I got. So again, if you guys like this sort of content, then subscribe, leave a like. I'll probably make like a similar style video for DPL whenever I get around there, but spoiler alert, it probably won't be arriving anytime soon because of One Last Ride, which is just around the corner. I am playing in there. So with that, that's gonna be it for me. Be sure to check out the other videos, subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you guys for the next draft league.